Poor little Chris, always intimidated that a woman would show him up, steal his glory. Which, of course, I did.
Chyna never becoming the WWF World Heavyweight Champion in the 90s is probably one of the biggest what ifs and myths in WWE history. But I think I know how I would have booked it if it were me. You want to talk about it? Let's go. Hey, what's going on, YouTube land? It's your boy TJ, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Wrestling Nostalgia, where I give my wrestling content on these videos. And today, we are talking about the one and only Chyna, the ninth wonder of the world. Yes, Chyna was roughly in WWF at the time, 1997 to 2001, and she have made a lot of milestones and a lot of history in that time frame. She was the first woman to ever compete in the Royal Rumble match. She was the first woman to ever compete in a King of the Ring tournament. She was the first woman to ever win and the only woman to ever win the WWF Intercontinental Championship. And she was the first woman to ever be the #1 contender for the WWF Championship. Yes, a lot of people don't know that, but yeah, she won a #1 contender match at SummerSlam to become the WWF World Champion. Yes, not the women's, the World Championship, which was being held by Stone Cold Steve Austin. So here's what happened. Back in the 90s, it was Triple H versus Undertaker versus Chyna and a #1 contender match for the WWF World Heavyweight Championship. So, of course, you know, Chyna hit her little moves and everything like that, and everybody was like doing their thing in the match. So, push come to shove, Chyna won the match because of Stone Cold Steve Austin. And the special guest referee of all people was Shawn Michaels, because I believe he was the commissioner at the time. And he came in swinging with a chair, and he put Chyna over Triple H 1, 2, 3, and it was a no disqualification, false count anywhere match on top of that. And your new #1 contender for Stone Cold's championship was Chyna. So here's how I would have did it, right? So in real life, Chyna and Triple H wind up getting into like a lover's quarrel spat, whatever you want to call it, in the ring. And he said, "Oh, I'm not asking you. You're going to give me my world championship opportunity." And she said, "Oh, well, if you got the cojones, you know, go ahead and you can see me in the ring." So she wound up winning that match. And it was because of Mankind. And here's what I would have did. Since in real life, Mankind and Triple H wind up having a #1 contender match after Mankind had asked for his #1 contendership. And she said no originally, but Shawn Michaels, for whatever reason, was all like, "Oh, I just feel so bad for Mick Foley, and you know, that poor guy, like, oh, he needs his opportunity at the World Championship too." So what? Forget him. So in real life, I would have did a draw, because in real life, Triple H wound up having a matchup with Mick Foley, and it was a draw, if I'm not mistaken. So it would have been a draw between Chyna and Mankind. That way, it would have been a triple threat match, because I believe in real life, Stone Cold Steve Austin did not want to lose to Chyna, and he was going to drop the championship anyway at SummerSlam. So I definitely would have had the fall guy be Mick Foley. So here's what it would have happened. Heading into SummerSlam, of course, we're going to keep it true to the time. Stone Cold Steve Austin probably would have had a rough bump or something like that, bumped into the referee, or maybe Mick Foley, and then everything is just chaotic. Everybody's hitting their moves. Stone Cold Stunner, bam, 1, 2, and then Stone Cold like, okay, where's the referee? 3, like, come on, like, where's the 3 count? No 3 count in the building. There's no 3 count to be had because the referee is knocked down. So we would have had Triple H would have came in, probably beat up on Mick Foley a little bit, then beat up on Stone Cold Steve Austin a little bit, like mix up. You know how WWF did back in the day. He probably would have just go ahead and beat up on Stone Cold Steve Austin, and then Mick Foley would have been in the ring. I would have had Chyna probably DDT'd him on a chair or something like that after already taking a finisher by Triple H, and then 1, 2, 3, your new WWF World Heavyweight Champion, Chyna. And that's how we would have got Chyna as the WWF Champion. And being as though we're going to keep it true to the time, she probably would have only held the championship probably like a month fifth best, and that's being nice because I do think that Vince would have did like a statement win, like, okay, the first ever female world heavyweight WWF champion, and she probably would have held it for at least a month just to be nice or whatever, and I would have been here for it. I would have never been complaining. I would have been like, what? She won that world title? What? And it would have been believable because she looked definitely back then. She was muscular. She was. You see the shirt?
You see the shirt, bitch? Log out.
And I probably would have had her come out, probably would have gloated. She would have been like, oh, I beat your world heavyweight champion. Yeah, Stone Cold who? And keeping true to time. Because remember, after the matchup, when Mick Foley had won the WWF Championship, this time we're going to have Chyna. I would have had Triple H go ahead and beat up Stone Cold Steve Austin and would have took him out of here. I probably, instead of Stone Cold Steve Austin coming out, I think he was gone for like a month or so. And then he didn't come back until like around the time of the next PLE event, well, pay-per-view event at that point, Unforgiven. And since he couldn't compete, I think he was injured or something like that. I forgot. I'll look it up, but we're going to keep it true to the time. I would have had Chyna be the WWF champion, and probably Mick Foley would have came out and would have been like, oh, I challenge you for your world championship. And she probably would have been like, just like I told you the last time, no. And then she probably would have low blowed him, DDT'd. And then Triple H probably would have pedigreed him or whatever and left him in the ring. Probably Mick Foley world championship. But of course, he would have lost in this reality. And I would have had like somewhere down the line, Jeff Jarrett was the IC champion. So I would have had him cut a promo saying that, oh, women need to be in the kitchen. And it is a disgrace. It is an abomination that we have a woman as a world heavyweight champion. And Stone Cold, you got to be kidding me. You got screwed, buddy. And da-da-da-da. And then Mick Foley, you have the nerve to sit up there and challenge her for the world championship, and you lost too? You worthless piece of scums. And da-da-da-da. Like, he would have just cut a scathing promo, and he would have been like, oh, if I were to challenge her for the world championship, I would have took that belt right off of her. So then this is when Chyna comes out and she was like, oh yeah, you're running your mouth. I ain't like those other women that you had beat up on, because, you know, this was like his gimmick or whatever. Oh, women needs to be in the kitchen and cooking and cleaning and all this other stuff. So they probably would have gotten into it. Triple H probably would have beat him up or whatever. Then Chyna would have had to put her WWF Championship against Jeff Jarrett. It would have ended in the disqualification, being as though they keep to the time. So I would have definitely had a DQ finish. This sets up the real life feud that actually happened. She would have eventually won the IC Championship in October, like she did in real life. But how we pivot to get her off of the World Championship scene, and I get it. Oh, well, it seems like a demotion. No, but it's just stacking a resume. So bear with me. So I would have had Jeff Jarrett probably at the next PLE event. I would have had Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock versus Chyna for the WWF Championship, or maybe even a triple threat match. So that way Chyna would never got pinned, and that protects her. And being as though that The Rock and Stone Cold had their seething rivalry, it would have protected Chyna and got her away from the WWF Championship picture. I would have had Jeff Jarrett come in after the ref bump, and this is where Jeff Jarrett probably would have hit Chyna with the guitar. That sets up their feud coming into No Mercy. He hits her with the guitar after, you know, Triple H, of course, beats up on either Stone Cold or The Rock. They're like going at it or whatever, and Chyna's like up, and she's about to, you know, basically try to finish this match off. But this is where Jeff Jarrett comes in, hits her with the guitar. 1, 2, 3, Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock between it. Whoever Triple H would have got first. Let's just say The Rock would have been the world champion at that time. Your new world champion, The Rock. So that's how we would have got Chyna out of the WWF picture, because now she has motive to go after Jeff Jarrett. So then this is where Chyna says that, you know what, Jeff Jarrett? You've been barking up my tree, and you took something from me. Now I take something from you. So this is how we set up that feud. And then we could still go into the Good Housekeeping match, and where she eventually won, and she would have been the Intercontinental Champion. And then we would have gotten to her feud with Chris Jericho at Survivor Series, and then later on into Armageddon. So we're keeping true to the time and still had Chyna as the WWF champion, the first ever female WWF champion, and first ever Intercontinental Champion, the first female to win that title. And bam, that's how I would have booked it. I definitely do feel like, being as though that everybody accepted Chyna as the IC champion. I don't see why they would have never accepted her as the world champion. I mean, she was damn near close. You know what I mean? And I feel like, honestly, you would have just made it a triple threat like how y'all originally did anyway, and then have Mick Foley be the fall guy. At that point, Chyna solo introduction into the Hall of Fame would have been undisputed. There would have been, she should have been the first ballot. She should be first ballot anyway. Like, IC champion, no other woman won I'm talking about the men's belt, never won the IC championship like ever again. No other female won that belt. So at this point, y'all need to just go ahead and just let her be first ballot. I get it. Oh, well, she's in the Hall of Fame. Oh, with DX. Yeah, with DX. Why is she's not? Come on now. She contributed a lot. Like, within 4 or 5 years. WWE, y'all need to stop playing in that girl face. But that's all I got. Ain't got no more. Comment down below. How do you feel about my booking of Chyna being the WWF World Champion? Do you feel like she could have pulled it off? It would have been good. Did you want her to win the world title from Stone Cold Steve Austin, being as though that match was supposed to happen and it was said that she was going to win the world title? Or are you like, that woman need to stay in her place in the kitchen?
And before I end this video, I also wanted to say RIP to Chyna, because this is like the 10-year mark of her death anniversary, and I wanted to say that. And also, she is a trailblazer. She is a pioneer of the women's division. She has definitely broken barriers. She has broken glass ceilings and a lot of different things that women were not normalized to do, and she was definitely ahead of her time. And you know, RIP to one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time, Chyna. And yeah.
Comment down below, like, share, and subscribe. Help me grow this channel. Your love and support is definitely greatly appreciated. Welcome. Peace. TJ, I'm out.